Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into a concept that truly flips conventional wisdom about success on its head. The power of broke. Our deep dive today is built on the compelling insights from the book of the same name by Daniel Paisner and Daymond John.
That's right. And the core premise here is, well, it's surprisingly powerful. Empty pockets, tight budgets,
Yeah.
even that hunger born out of necessity.
Yeah.
The book argues they aren't handicaps. In fact, they can actually be your single greatest competitive advantage. It's a mindset.
A mindset. Okay.
Yeah, one that chooses substance over flash, ingenuity over just having all the answers, and taking those bold, unexpected shots over playing it safe.
So our mission today is really to pull out the most important nuggets from this perspective. We'll share some surprising facts, real-world stories, hopefully help you see how these ideas might apply directly to your own ambitions.
Whether that's in business or really any part of life.
Exactly. So let's unpack this and discover what truly stands out for you. What's intriguing right off the bat is how the book just immediately challenges that ingrained idea.
Hmm.
That you need deep pockets or significant capital to launch something meaningful.
It really does. I mean, for so many people, that's the first roadblock they imagine, right?
Totally.
But the power of broke, it's about understanding that money, yeah, it's useful, but it's simply not deep enough. Not in the long run.
How so?
Well, it can't buy the passion, the raw ingenuity, or just that sheer determination you need for lasting success. When you're truly down to your last dime, like out of options, you've got no choice but to succeed. And that doesn't just mean working harder. The book says it pushes you into this relentless turbo mode.
Relentless turbo mode.
Yeah.
I like that. And it makes me think of another concept they bring up, this half-court shot metaphor. That suggests a certain kind of boldness, doesn't it?
Precisely. It's about taking that really improbable shot when the clock's winding down. The shot others won't even consider because the odds are stacked against you.
Playing to win, not just playing the percentages.
Exactly. And you know that great Wayne Gretzky line, we miss 100% of the shots we don't take?
Right.
The power of broke kind of dares you to take that shot.
Okay, but if you're taking those big shots, you're definitely going to face rejection. A lot of it, probably.
Yeah.
What keeps someone going when they've been turned down, say, 30 times?
That's a really good question. And the book argues it's that singular burning reason you keep going, that gut belief that the green light, the yes, could be on the very next try, the 31st try. When you genuinely feel like you have nothing left to lose, you literally have everything to gain. It sort of strips away the fear of failure because often the alternative seems worse than failing.
So this isn't just about pure grit or, sticking it out. It sounds like it's also a kind of blueprint for how true innovation actually happens.
It really is. The source emphasizes that innovation is mostly a bottom-up thing, not something dictated from the top down.
Right. Like it doesn't usually come from a big committee meeting.
Not typically, no. Think about so many things we take for granted now. Breakdancing, rap music, the initial spark for things like iPods, smartwatches, even electric cars.
Yeah.
They didn't just emerge fully formed from corporate boardrooms with huge R&D budgets telling people what they needed. They popped up organically from the streets, from individuals, from a real felt need.
That's a great contrast. You see it in the arts too, right? Like indie films, often made on shoestring budgets, driven by one person's vision.
Yeah, and they often stir our souls way more than the slick, big-budget blockbusters. Even if the blockbusters make more money, the connection is different.
Or think about Art Basel.
Exactly. While the major galleries are there, of course, often the real excitement, the crowds, the buzz, it gravitates towards the street artists, the pop-up displays.
People seem to crave something pure, something real, something that hasn't been overpolished from the start.
Which brings us right to authenticity. The clothing brand FUBU, for us, by us, is such a powerful example of this in the book.
Right. Their designs didn't come from market research focus groups.
No, they came from the streets, from their own heart, their own community. They captured that market because they were authentic, a genuine reflection of their world.
It's like how haute couture started, right?
Yeah.
From actual dressmaking, born out of a real need and passion, not just a branding exercise.
Absolutely. And this idea of authenticity, it goes beyond just business. The source uses some pretty strong analogies about personal relationships, too.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, think about relationships built just on superficial appearances, or maybe money. What happens when the money runs out, or the looks fade?
Right. The foundation crumbles.
If it wasn't built on something authentic and true, it's bound to fail. It's like a house built on sand,
And it seems like the exact same thing applies directly to business. The book brings up the whole new Coke fiasco. That wasn't a lack of money causing that failure, was it?
Not at all. They had plenty of money. It was a colossal failure to understand that business, like any innovation, like any relationship, really needs to grow from the bottom up.
From a real connection with the customer.
Yes, a genuine, authentic connection. You can't just throw money at a problem and expect it to stick if that core connection isn't there. Often, it just makes the problem bigger.
And it feels like the digital age has just put this whole authenticity thing on steroids almost.
Oh, definitely. Think about movements like the so-called Facebook revolution in Egypt or Hong Kong's umbrella revolution.
Okay.
They didn't succeed because of huge marketing budgets or top-down campaigns. They spread because they were real ideas, passionately put out there through social media by real people. Transparency, authenticity, they're not just buzzwords anymore. They're basically table stakes in today's world.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider this initial power fact they share. 8 out of 10 new businesses fail within the first 18 months.
Wow, 8 out of 10.
And the book argues this often happens because they're, quote, cashed to death or built on steroids.
That statistic really hammers it home, doesn't it? Why being lean, why being authentic matters so much. Because when you're not overfunded, when your back's really against the wall, there's immense value in just being true to yourself. It forces you.
It forces you how?
It forces you to scrape, to hustle, to dream your way to the top. Especially when passion is pretty much your only resource. You have to be aggressive, creative, resourceful. You learn to turn every strike against you into some kind of opportunity.
Daymond John himself, the author, he speaks from direct experience, right? He started FUBU from basically nothing.
Nothing much at all, as he puts it, with 3 friends from Hollis, Queens. And now you see him as the people shark on Shark Tank, and he's always championing those underdogs. He recognizes those real ideas that come from that power of broke mindset.
And he observes something interesting on the show, too, doesn't he? About people who had things handed to them.
Yeah, he talks about how sometimes those who had their first breaks kind of handed to them often lack a certain fire, a hunger, that willingness to do absolutely whatever it takes. The power of broke isn't just about financial limits. It's about a deep emotional, personal investment.
Yeah.
The kind that often only comes from true necessity.
It's like Sylvester Stallone's Rocky Balboa, remember in the later movies? He gets rich, surrounded by luxury.
He loses his eye of the tiger.
Exactly. He only gets his edge back, his hunger, his winning spirit when he goes back to that rough and tumble broke, desperate way of training.
It's a perfect analogy, and the source is really clear. It's not saying you have to start from desperation. That's not the point.
Okay.
But it is saying that being broke or just having very limited resources forces you into this mode of aggressive creativity and resourcefulness. It's kind of the ultimate counterpunch to that money, problems idea.
Okay, so to really bring this theory to life, let's dig into a specific real-world example. One from Shark Tank, actually.
Yeah. Which one?
The pitch from Joe Elvin and Arsene Yebu for their athletic shoe line, Forest. They were asking for $200,000 for a 15% stake.
Ah, Forest Athletics. I remember that one. What stood out to Daymond, and it was really striking, wasn't just their product or, the gimmicks or the display they had.
Oh.
It was their sheer enthusiasm and the authentic, incredibly powerful story behind their mission, our son especially.
His story was amazing.
He'd fled the Civil War in Côte d'Ivoire, literally ran his way to the U.S. on a track scholarship, and eventually made it to law school. Daymond called it the power of broke on full display.
Incredible. But despite that compelling story, and actually a pretty well-designed, affordable product, the other sharks passed, right?
They did, yeah. For various reasons. Mark Cuban had a conflicting endorsement deal, I think. Lori Greiner was worried about competing with giants like Nike.
But the category is brutal.
And Kevin O'Leary just saw too many challenges ahead, the usual tough road for a startup.
But Daymond himself was also concerned, wasn't he? But for different reasons than the others.
He was. He saw Forrest trying to be too many things at once, both a performance brand and a fashion brand. They had this NASCAR licensing deal that seemed, out of place for where they were.
And too many product lines.
Exactly, leading to a potential inventory nightmare. And crucially, Daymond didn't think money was the answer to those specific growing pains.
Right. And then Robert Herjavec tried to pull Daymond back in, saying, hey, fashion.
Yeah, Robert recognized Daymond's expertise could help them navigate the fashion side, but Daymond held firm.
Why? What was his core reasoning?
He saw that Forrest had already started to veer off their initial path, that path where they were bare bones, scrappy, and finding success organically.
Okay.
His fear was that investing more money would just tempt them to keep going in that unfocused direction, chasing superficial extensions instead of doubling down on their core concept and really engaging authentically with their first customers.
So giving them money might have actually hurt them, in his view.
He genuinely believed he did them a favor by not investing. Sometimes, he argued, a big infusion of cash isn't what a business needs. It needs to, quote, lean back the way they'd started out and grow organically. Let the market pull them.
Even though he got some heat for it online.
Oh, yeah. The episode generated social media buzz, people questioning his decision. But he stood by it. He highlighted that a real proof of concept, even something as small as $50 in sales from a $1 product sold out of a car trunk, is often way more valuable than big investment sums early on.
That makes a lot of sense. And to help guide entrepreneurs through this whole mindset, Daymond developed his Shark Points, right? An acronym.
Yes. It's a great framework. Simple, memorable. The idea is to think like a shark. Ruthless, hungry, smart, swift, powerful, and resourceful.
Can you walk us through what each of those points means, the SHARK?
Absolutely. It's a really practical distillation of his philosophy. So S stands for set a goal. Be realistic, but don't sell yourself short either. Aim too high, you get frustrated. Too low, you miss opportunities. And crucially, write it down. Make it real.
Okay, S is set a goal. What's H?
H is for homework. You absolutely must know your field, your competitors, the history, everything. The book puts it bluntly. You will never create anything new. All there is a new form of delivery.
Wow. Okay.
So learn from others' mistakes. Don't repeat them. Do your homework.
Got it. A.
A is adore what you do. Passion. It's the ultimate fuel, right? As Steve Jobs famously said, the only way to do great work is to do what you love. Without that passion, the power of broke just becomes, well, plain broke. It's not sustainable.
Makes sense.
R is, remember, you are the brand. Your identity, how you carry yourself, how you interact with your audience, your customers, that is your brand. It starts and ends with you. Authenticity here is key. People connect with people.
And finally, K.
K is keep swimming. Be relentless. Be nimble. Always be moving forward. Sharks literally die if they stop swimming, right? So embrace failure. See it as part of the process. As the saying goes, try, fail, try again, fail better, just keep moving.
Those are really powerful, practical points. And you can see how they all tie back into that core philosophy. Let's look at a few more stories that really illustrate these Shark Points and this whole idea of starting with little. Rob Dyrdek is a fascinating one.
Oh yeah, the skateboarder turned mogul. His early story is classic power of broke. He literally had no money for a contest entrance fee once.
So what did he do?
He just improvised, asked the organizers if he could get in free if he signed up 10 other people. A totally ballsy, brassy move, as the book says.
Wow.
Cost him nothing, got him everything he needed at that moment. That's that creative resourcefulness kicking in.
And his mindset was always be the best and nothing less, even when there wasn't much money in skateboarding initially.
Exactly. So he built his brand purely on his talent, his authenticity. Then later, he was incredibly smart about monetizing it, leveraging his TV shows like Robin Big and Fantasy Factory, and renegotiating his licensing deals for, get this, super high royalties and way low minimums. He played the long game, focusing on the back end. That's keep swimming, and remember, you are the brand right there.
And his advice now is so direct. Your brand is you, plain and simple. It doesn't cost a thing.
Yeah.
He really pushes using those free platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, to build your ideology, your message.
And his personal motto, relentlessly living amazing. It shows that brand is built from within.
His story also hits that do your homework point hard, doesn't it?
Absolutely. All that relentless practice built his skateboarding foundation. But then he did a deep dive into the entertainment industry. He learned the ins and outs, which led to smart strategic decisions like making sure he owned a piece of his shows. He learned from others' mistakes in that space.
Okay, another really compelling story is Acacia Brindley, the social media influencer.
Right, with millions of followers. Her story starts differently, though. As a bullied teenager, she found her community on Tumblr.
And she started posting selfies.
Yeah, she didn't invent the selfie, obviously, but the book says she damn near perfected it, using her dad's camera, just putting herself out there authentically.
And how does her story connect to the Shark Points?
Well, definitely keep swimming. When the haters inevitably showed up online, she didn't lash out, she didn't stop, she kept growing. She saw critics as, quote, cheerleaders with dirty pom-poms.
Ah, that's a great line.
Isn't it? She recognized the power in just being me. She stayed relatable, true to her core values, even when big brands like Pepsi and McDonald's came calling for endorsements. She managed to find that tricky balance between staying authentic and building a business. Remember, you are the brand too.
Then there's Christopher Gray, the $1 Million Scholar, earned over $1.3 million in college scholarships.
An incredible story of resourcefulness. Growing up in Alabama, no internet at home, struggling to pay application fees, he had to be creative.
How did that creativity manifest?
Well, his journey is a prime example of being, as the book puts it, specifically creative when you have limited resources. He'd write essays in advance, then meticulously cut and paste them to maximize his limited computer time at the library.
Wow. Talk about hustle.
He sought out every available scholarship, even the really long shots. That's incredible homework, and definitely keep swimming.
And he had a mentor, right? His AP literature teacher.
Yes, Tara Tidwell. She pushed him to personalize his essays, draw on literary classics, and this really highlights another concept, avoiding poverty of the mind.
What does that mean exactly?
It means that even if you struggle financially, you don't have to let your mind struggle. You can still feed your head with knowledge, find mentors, use libraries, read, actively combat intellectual poverty, even amidst financial poverty. Chris embodied that.
And all this led him to develop the Scholly app.
Right, with 2 other students. It was simple, elegant, super efficient, matched students with scholarships based on just 8 essential criteria.
Built on his own painful experience.
Exactly. And it had a remarkably low startup cost. It gained traction fast, over 92,000 downloads at 99 cents each, before he even appeared on Shark Tank. Talk about proof of concept.
And on the show, Daymond and Lori jumped right in, offered him exactly what he asked for, $40,000 for 15%.
Yeah, they saw the potential, the proven need, and his incredible persistence. The app's success since, like that deal with the Memphis City Council, just proves the power of his idea and his journey.
And again, it comes back to do your homework.
Absolutely. He personally researched thousands of scholarships for himself. That deep, first-hand understanding of the market, the pain points, that's what made Scholly such a targeted and effective solution.
Okay, so after hearing all these success stories born from struggle, it sounds almost backward. But the book argues that a major reason businesses fail is actually overfunding.
It really does sound counterintuitive, doesn't it? But it's a critical concept, sometimes called bootstrapping 101.
Explain that. How can too much money be bad?
Well, the more embryonic, the earlier stage your business is, the more money can actually cost you. Too much funding too early can create this kind of artificial high.
An artificial high.
Yeah, it lifts you away from your actual bottom line, your real connection to the market. It can mask problems like those superficial relationships we talked about. They might look good from the outside, but the foundation isn't solid.
The book gives a hypothetical example, right? About taking investment.
It does. Imagine you have $50,000 in sales. Then you take a $200,000 investment for, say, 30% equity. Suddenly, the pressure is immense.
To grow much faster.
Exactly. You have to hit much higher sales targets just to break even for your investors, potentially forcing unsustainable growth, maybe cutting corners, and likely leading to needing more money later, diluting your equity even further.
Whereas organic growth.
Contrast that with organic growth. If you let the business grow naturally, reinvesting your profits, your cash flow eventually gets strong enough to finance expansion yourself, or at least you're negotiating from a position of strength. Mark Cuban's advice is spot on here. Use your first available dollars to pay down debt. It's a guaranteed return.
That story of Carlos the mailroom messenger really captures this mindset perfectly.
Oh yeah, Carlos. He pockets the $2 subway fare for a long delivery, walks instead.
Buys 3 hot dogs and says, "Today I eat like a king."
Right. And that simple act of resourcefulness, repeated over time, allowed him to save $1,500 a year. Eventually, he bought a house in Puerto Rico.
While the hedge fund guys were miserable.
Meanwhile, the supposedly successful, miserable hedge fund managers in the same cafeteria were always stressing, never content despite their wealth. It shows the psychological power of resourcefulness versus dependency on big money.
And those stats about professional athletes and lottery winners are just staggering.
They really are. 60% of NBA players, 78% of NFL players broke or bankrupt within years of retirement. 70% of lottery winners end up broke.
It just underlines how too much money, too soon, without the right mindset, can lead to terrible decisions. You lose that hungry, resourceful edge.
The money itself isn't evil, but the sudden, unearned abundance can strip away the necessity for that creativity, that hard work, that good judgment that got people successful in the first place.
And the hypothetical cupcake business example is such a Classic cautionary tale for overfunding.
Oh, yeah. You start with grandma's amazing recipe. Awesome. But then you immediately sing $100,000 into a super trendy shop.
Before selling a single cupcake.
Right. Before understanding the local market, maybe it's a gluten-free neighborhood. Or maybe the church lady down the street already dominates the bake sale scene.
And boom, disaster. Quick failure.
Because you made your big mistakes at the $100,000 level. The solution. Colossal bootstrapping, the book calls it.
Make your mistakes small.
Exactly. Make mistakes at the $5,000 level, learn from them, pivot, adapt, without being swallowed whole by debt or unsustainable overhead.
And maybe the ultimate example of successful bootstrapping, proving the concept step by step, is Facebook.
Has to be, right? Mark Zuckerberg grew it incrementally, tested the concept at Harvard, then expanded, campus by campus, tweaking, adjusting, learning as you went.
He didn't try to boil the ocean immediately.
No way. He didn't move forward in a huge way until he knew what he had, until the proof of concept was undeniable.
So the core lesson seems crystal clear.
Proof of concept is the only way to know if you are truly on to something. Skipping that crucial step, especially if you're lucky or unlucky enough to be overfunded early on, well, it's almost always a recipe for disaster.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, our listener? This deep dive into the power of broke really reveals that maybe true competitive advantage isn't found in a padded bank account.
No, it seems to be found in a relentless mindset, an authentic vision, and just ingenious resourcefulness.
It's about turning those things you might see as disadvantages, lack of money, lack of connections, into your greatest fuel. Understanding that a genuine connection to your purpose and an unyielding will to succeed can often overcome almost any financial roadblock.
Yeah, it's about that hunger, that focus, that creativity born out of necessity. We've seen how that approach can lead to incredible innovation and often more lasting success.
So as you reflect on this, maybe ask yourself, what overlooked disadvantage in your own life or your own business idea could actually be your greatest competitive advantage, just waiting for you to unleash its power? Thank you for joining us today.